Hello my dear students, thank you so much for subscribing me. First and foremost, I should say that I was really impressed by looking at your comments about my videos and about certain lessons that I have presented you through YouTube. So if you haven't subscribed us, please make sure to subscribe us with the for your English literature and English language lessons, advanced level and ordinary level. So a lot of students have asked from me about this how to write essay type questions, especially in ordinary level examination when it comes to essay type writing, what kind of methodology that they need and what is the structure, and is there any method that you followed, and also I just like to give and just like to share some ideas with you about this regarding this matter. So when it comes to literature, when it comes to essay type questions, basically you will have 15 marks. For each question you will have 15 marks, and altogether you will get 60 marks, which means in poetry you will get 15 marks, drama you will get 15 marks, and again when it comes to short stories you will get 15 marks, and for the novel you get 15 marks. So altogether you will get 60 marks, and from that 60 marks your A pass or B pass or C pass will be determined. So it is very important. In the first paper you will get 40 marks, in the second paper you will get 60 marks. So each and every paper at least there should be 4 quotations. 4 to 5 quotation is a must. And number 2, you can't use handmade quotations. Exactly, your quotation should be the original one, which is actually included in the original text. So when it comes to writing essay type questions, number 1, most of the students, what I have seen is that even since I am a teacher, I have seen that most of them has grabbed all the points from the books, from the teachers, and most of the points that they have grabbed from different types of sources. It can be from the web, different places. But my personal idea is that when it comes to literature, you can grab all these ideas. There is no hard and fast rule about that. But the fact is, when it comes to writing answers, it should be you. Your answer should be unique to yourself, right? So that is the most important thing. You can grab a lot of ideas from any places, from YouTube and from web, and sometimes you might have read beautiful articles from the different types of websites. Sometimes you might have used different types of books. All these things are pretty okay, but the thing is, when it comes to answering part, you have to have your own writing style, which is kind of a unique thing to you. So I have seen a lot of students, when they are writing answers, their answers are not unique. All the answers are very similar. So this unique quality should be within you, because when it comes to subjects like literature, it is all about your creative writing, and that should be there. So you can get a lot of knowledge from other people, a lot of ideas, but when it comes to answering, your answer should be something unique to yourself, and you should be honest about your answer. You should be very honest about your answer, and that is your fact that you have explained to the people or the audience. That is number 1. And number 2, when it comes to literature, not only literature, when it comes to any type of literature, it can be Sinhala literature or Tamil literature or Arabic literature, there can be only 2 types of questions that they can ask. Number 1, it can be a language question. Number 2, it can be a literature question. So if it is a language question, your question might be something like that. What kind of literary devices that the writer has used to pass a creative message? What kind of creative writing techniques that writer has used to pass this message or present this theme or something like that. So when you hear the word like writing techniques, literary devices, poetic devices, and something like that, you have to make sure that the question is all about language, not about literature. So when it comes to language, you have to remember this writing techniques, literary devices, poetic devices, creative writing techniques. So if you have those type of words in your question, it definitely discusses about language. So you have to include all the language techniques, starting from similes, metaphors, third person narration, first person narration, onomatopoeia. Everything should be there inside your story, inside your answer rather. So that is one part, that is language, right? So when it comes to literature, this is the most important part. Most of the time they ask literature questions. Literature means life. So your answer should be based on themes, right? So basically you have 5 themes, right, in poetry, and sometimes in novels you have several themes that we discuss separately. If you take R.K. Narayan's Vendor of Sweets, he can say generation gap, how money corrupts all the family relationships, and the generation gap between father and son, and the traditionality and modernity. Likewise, there are certain themes. So when it comes to a literature question, always make sure to remember, when you read the question, you will get something like this. what kind of social message that the writer or the poet tries to give us from this poem, from this short story, from this drama, about the characterization. Popova's character and the Smirnov's character, when you take two characters, they have similarities. Discuss. So when it comes to that type of questions, we always have to remember the total question is based on literature. Literature means life. Life means the themes which are related to our life, which means humor. Right? When you read the poem, after reading the poem or after reading the short story, if you get some kind of a happy feeling, right? Humoric feelings, or we call that, comes under the category of humor, or else it comes under the category of life. It comes under the category of nature. So admiring the nature, likewise. So when it comes to literature, always make sure to write. Always make sure to think about the theme and write under that theme. So if you take your poetry, each and every the 20 poems that you have, which we have in the syllabus, they are actually categorized according to the theme. So when it comes to literature, they always expect something related to the theme, not the language devices. You can use your language devices. You can say that this kind of language devices they have used here and there, but your major concern should be about the theme. So that is number one. First and foremost, when you take a question, especially an essay type question, you have to think whether your question is about the language or about literature. So when you think that, the only way that you can decide is that you have to read the question very carefully. Then you come to a conclusion that, okay, this question is about language, this question is about literature. So most of the questions in English literature is actually based on literature, but here and there I have seen in some of the past papers they have asked even language questions as well. Then soon after you read the question, certain things will pop up to your mind. Now if you ask, if you get a question, after reading it, especially when it comes to a language question, it would be much more easy, because most of the time our students, they study all these language techniques and prepare for the examination. But when it comes to a literature question, our students little bit hesitate to write answers because they don't have a certain idea what type of quotations that I should select. Sometimes some students, they by heart the whole poem and they write the whole poem here, but that's not the correct method, right? You don't have to by heart the whole poem. It's better that you can by heart that. It is better that you know the whole poem, because you can use any quotation that you like, but select the most appropriate quotations for your question. Most appropriate quotations. Now how to decide this is the most appropriate quotation from the poem which I should select for this story? Because I have said you only have 15 minutes to 20 minutes to write one answer, so you can't write the whole poem. Right, so you have to have 4 quotations. You have to select 4 quotations, the best 4 quotations that you can use to show as the evidence to prove your fact that this is why I am telling this poem is this type of a poem. This is why I am telling this short story belongs to this category. Now as an example, I will say Lumber Room, right? So if you are writing from Lumber Room, this question like this, they ask, discuss from the short story Lumber Room that children's world is totally different from the adult's world. Right? Children's world is totally different from the adult's world. That is actually one of the major themes in Saki's Lumber Room. So you have to select, it's a big story, so you have to select the most important quotations that you can prove that fact, right? Only that fact, children's world and the adult's world. How you are going to compare that, right? First example, you can say about the aunt's character, how Nicholas or else the Saki explains about the aunt's character. Right? What kind of unimaginative and dull character she is. On the other hand, how Saki explains about Nicholas's character. Through that, how Saki tries to show that not only Nicholas but also almost all the children are like that. Right? So likewise, you have to compare them properly. You have to take the characteristics of the people, right, to show the children's world and the adult's world. So you have to show that in a symbolical manner. And how they react to situations, right? How aunt reacted to certain situation and how Nicholas react to certain situations. So you have to take the examples from that. Likewise, you have to think about the question and you have to decide what are the most appropriate quotations that I'm going to take from the story, from the prescribed novel or the prescribed poems that you have. Now if you take Sangakkara story as an example, sometimes there can be a question like Sangakkara is a true leader, right? Sangakkara is a true leader. What kind of quotations that you select from the story to show Sangakkara's good leadership? leadership quality. So you have to be very careful to select certain quotations that which show Sangakkara's leadership quality. Most of the time, our students, they select most popular quotations and they write which are not actually relevant to the question. Right? You should not select some quotation related to patriotism. Most of the quotations in that short story is about patriotism. Right? So you as a person should think about, okay, I'm dealing with leadership. Right? I'm not dealing with patriotism, even though the short story is full of patriotism. Most of the quotations are about patriotism and Sri Lankans and Sri Lankan pride and everything. So I should be very careful to select the most important quotations which discusses about leadership. That is why most of you don't get marks in the examination. You come and say that, sir, I actually wrote 2 to 4 pages, sir, but I didn't get marks. I got C pass, I got S pass. The reason is most of your answers are not relevant to the question. Relevant to the question means you have not selected proper quotations. Always remember, if you select the proper quotation, only you can go through with that quotation. Right? Sometimes you can only remember the quotations which discusses about patriotism, but there is no relevance. My question is Sangakkara's leadership. Right? Okay, Sangakkara is a person. When other people inside the bus got panic and they shouted, Sangakkara identified all the actions inside the bus without having any problem, without having any doubts in his mind, without having any sudden and quick idea in his mind. He saw everything very calm and quietly. This is one of the major leadership qualities that we can take from Sangakkara's story. That is number 1, leadership. And the way they behaved, calm, rational mind and everything, as a leader, how he behaved and how he motivated other players to behave inside the field and off the field. Likewise, so major quotations, right? There are a lot of quotations about patriotism, about number of things, but our question is about leadership.